Do you feel your mental sanity is crumbling just as quickly as your bank account?
Have you been stung by a murder hornet?
Has your daughter walked into your study and informed you that she is a gender you didn't learn about in Biology 101?
Are you just a little bummed out that your life's work just got burnt to a crisp and annoyed that everyone keeps telling you that it's all right, you have insurance?
Well, we have a solution for you. Apocolection 2020.
What is Apocolection 2020, you ask? It's Weapons of Meme Destruction's first live event. For the low, low price of coming over to WMDpodcast.com and joining our email list, you can get access to the event. The email list is the only way in, as that is where we will share the Zoom link to the event. Come hang out with us on election night, November 3rd, 2020, as we watch the fall of Western civilization together.
Let's have a couple libations and a couple laughs to keep from crying. Apocolection 2020. Fucking monkey. Can't just tell me, come up with something funny right now.
Be funny.
Two fucking...
I'm not. Nobody wants to hear my...
A priest and a rabbi walk into a bar.
Nobody wants to hear me anymore.
That's not true.
He's not funny.
They would have to show back up time and time again. All right, so just forewarning, we are going to try to make this episode as succinct as possible.
If you say it, it's going to be an hour
now we're
long.
going to be held accountable for when it isn't. And
Who's going to hold us accountable?
There'll be one dude that these people will elect, and that dude is going to have a steel-toed boot.
Call us
he's going to be like some 6'4" motherfucker, and he's going to come.
They're very upset with us.
He's going to straight kick us right with it. He's going to spend some time. He's going to freeze his boot before he puts it on. He's going to catch us so unawares. He's not going to hit us in our past participle. He's going to hit us in that little. He's going to hit us in that little space between the past participle and the sewage factory. And a
lot of thought has gone into this.
They will elect him.
Retaliation. Speaking of phones,
yeah, I'm getting a call right now. It's probably very important that I answer it. But
all right, so I'm gonna start it, and if co-host number, I don't know, whatever, the other co-host leaves the room, then you get me for a while.
I'm not leaving the room. I'm
in it to
win it, baby.
He loves you guys,
big time.
All right, weapons.
That's why I'm not leaving.
WMDpodcast.
I'm not leaving. I'm not fucking leaving.
/
as Leo would say.
Did we? What is this? Is this
8.
number 8? Okay.
Fuck. God. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
We only need to go to 8. WMDpodcast.com /8.
It goes to 11.
Where to find this episode on our website. Go. And yeah, come hang out with us. You know the drill. We've told you the drill many, many times.
We're not going to beg, all right? We're not going to get down on our hands and knees.
Okay.
And say, please, Daddy, give me more.
We don't have a fancy little picture to share for this one. But I think we've all seen it. We've all seen the moral high horsing from our friends and family on both ends of the political spectrum. Well, I should say all over the political spectrum. That, basically hold up voting in and of itself as a morally justified good. They'll be like, oh, well, again, it always comes with this. Bad stuff happening in the world. You didn't vote. You are responsible for all bad things.
You didn't vote for Hillary Clinton. Therefore, you voted for Trump.
Therefore, you are the reason why Trump is doing everything he's doing. Okay, we're just going to raise and dismiss this really quick. Your individual vote does not matter. That's not an opinion. That is a statistical fact. It is a statistical improbability that any one single vote will have an impact on the outcome of an election. Even in Florida 2000, where it came down to, I don't even remember, like a couple hundred votes between Bush and Gore. That's about the closest it came to to one vote swaying it one way or another. But really what you would have to have, and it's obvious, you would have to have a straight 50-50 split, and your one vote voting one way or another is what made President X get elected instead of President Y. So again, not delving into that. It's just hear me now, understand me later.
Hear me now for
statistical impossibility that your vote matters. So when people try to tell you that this is the most momentous election of our lives, and that if you don't vote, you're basically
every election is supposedly the most momentous.
They say it every time.
When's the last election that they're like, this one doesn't fucking matter?
Like, yeah, we could phone this one in, but we'll get the next one.
You can't even get a sunburn when you walk outside. This shit's so good. Just vote for the bowl of poop. Definitely not the bowl of diarrhea.
So I raise and dismiss that only to point out the fact that anybody who's taking this line of argumentation with you, trying to morally high horse. That was how I only messed up. Morally high horse you and be like, well, I voted, and so I'm a good person, and you didn't vote. So
I want
to know
what a moral whorehouse is, which is what I think. Well, as long as you're not married and you're consenting and you pay the bills.
That kind of person is not. They're not trying to engage you with any sort of logic or reason. They're trying to make an emotional appeal to you.
Side business?
And they're trying to shout you down by assuming the
side business? High ground. A moral whorehouse?
I think we need to focus on getting one thing successful at a time, and then we can try to maybe...
This thing's skyrocketing. We've looked at the numbers. It's like we went 2, 4, 8. We're fucking doubling every week. It's crazy.
All right. So... let's set that aside for a second. Now, this idea that, you didn't vote, so you're responsible for President X doing policy A. I mean, you only have to think about this for like 3 seconds to realize how absurd it is, because it also applies to third-party voters. I mean,
some of us don't feel ashamed.
These people that moral high horse this stuff, they will classify non-voters and third-party voters in the same category. To them, it makes no difference, right? Because you wasted your vote for a third party because your candidate was never really going to win. That's what they say. So they'll say,
but that's a defeatist
because you did that
there, by the way.
Well, yeah.
Like, how the fuck are you ever going to get a third party to be relevant until you vote for them?
It's a hopelessly circular argument. Like, third-party candidate can't win because nobody votes for them. Nobody votes for them because I go running around telling everybody not to vote for them.
In fact, they blamed them like they blamed Ross Perot for stealing votes away from whoever the fuck he stole votes away from.
That's a whole other episode for another day.
Dude,
the idea that...
No, you voted for... No, he's the one that made sense, so I voted for him. You just went with... You went with Pepsi instead of cola.
It's tied up in this. It's tied up in this concept. We're going to hear a lot of it now that Kanye has jumped in the 2020 race. This idea that Kanye is going to steal votes from Biden. There's only one way to steal votes. Okay, that's election fraud. If somebody chooses not to vote for the candidate that you think is the one that should win, nobody stole their vote away from your candidate. Your candidate sucked. They chose not to vote for your candidate.
Take responsibility for your actions.
Exactly.
Get a better candidate. Like when people blame you, you didn't vote for Hillary? God damn it. Well, you threw your vote away, and that's why we have Trump. No, Hillary did almost literally nothing. She didn't try to go to any of the states that she lost. She didn't try to go to any of the battle states. She was already as corrupt as fuck, and she had the political identity of fucking Lex Luthor. It was just, she was attached. Everything about her was wrong, and you guys still fucked Bernie over, the socialist, to throw her into the mix. And Bernie took it like a champ, never said a thing about it. And then she lost. Yeah, I backed her up. He just got busy. He just got, excuse my French, but he just got effed in the A. And he goes, yeah, thank you, sir. May I have another? Guy's got guts. I'll tell you that much. But shit, man. So, I mean, if a ref makes a bad call, I'm like, what the fuck are you looking looking at it. He's like, you know what? I thought I was offside too. I didn't. I'm glad you caught me. I need to play better.
I mean, so yeah. So I mean, that's the absurdity on the one point. But let's go into the kind of moral underpinnings that is underlying this meme that goes around that you voting makes you a good person. Like
Underwear.
You're better, right?
Underwear.
Underlies. I like it.
You said under a lot, so I was like underwear.
Perfect.
Under beneath.
This idea that because you voted,
Underworld with Kate Beckinsale,
you're a better person. Well, let's.
She's so hot.
Yeah,
she's 50 now, and she's like
she's an ageless wonder.
Fuck, how does she do it?
She's
Kate.
Well, I mean, a lot of money that has access to.
Well, yeah.
You know,
but still, so it works out for some of them.
I'm sure she has an amazing diet.
Really worked out for her.
I'm sure she has an amazing diet cooked by.
She's had 2 kids.
An amazing chef that
keeps
has
that fucking
all
thing
organic foods. Like I'm sure she has a personal like.
Oh, I bet she's organic already.
It's a little easier to stay.
Oh, it's easier. Money. Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at Cristiano Ronaldo. Love the dude. You are the best.
A lot of work ethic. We're not taken away from their work ethic.
Oh, no,
definitely
no.
earned it.
But the kid had fucked up
teeth. They have resources.
Shitty hair when he came to United, and then all of a sudden United just changed him into this like stallion.
David, listen. Man United is not the place from whence the sun shines, okay?
I think it is.
Okay.
And this is 2 successive? Yes, successive episodes that I brought up Manchester United. I think Manchester United, if you want to support this podcast, we'll definitely talk about your...
We would dig it.
Go Devils.
So let's get the gravy train back on the tracks. So this idea that voting in and of itself is a good and morally justified thing to do. Well, let's pull that apart just a little bit because we could talk all day on this, but we're just going to go a little bit. So first of all, when you vote, you're not voting on light versus dark. And this comes from the people that are the most like, oh, you didn't vote, like that's what makes you bad, right? So, for example, let's take all the people that are voting for Biden. You see very, very few people that say that was their first choice. He's just like really good guy. To most people are like, yeah, you know,
voting for his cabinet.
He wasn't my first choice. He wasn't my second. He wasn't my third. He wasn't my fifth. But you know what? He's the guy our party picked, and so you got to fall in line. Yada yada. So So what they're saying is, yeah, all other things being equal, this guy really sucks, but he's worse than Trump, so you have to
better
better
than Trump.
This is the problem with politics, right? You're not voting for one thing at a time. You're voting for a smorgasbord of things. You can be a Catholic.
An ideology. You're voting for an ideology, pretty much.
Well, I mean, not even an ideology so much as it is just like a practical platform for control, for power.
There's plenty of people. You're just bringing up Catholic, and we have a couple of relatives that are.
Right, but I had
Go ahead. But I'm saying when you're ideological. Thank you. God, I didn't know if I was gonna be able to pull that one off. One issue is enough to sway you left or right. Right. It's enough to keep you right where you're at.
It can be, and again, as coming from Catholic families in a red state, you know, generally speaking, our family members voted red because that their one issue was abortion. They could never vote for a Democratic candidate that would support abortion. But see, here's the point. So there's tons of other Catholics, you know, that I think Nancy Pelosi is. I think is Chuck. No, I don't think Chuck Schumer is. Well, anyway, point is there are plenty of Catholics that do vote Democrat. Now, and again, here's the thing. As a Catholic in good standing, they would say, well, you know, I don't think abortion is right. You know, again, if they're holding true to the tenets of their faith. Like even a super, you know, kind of lefty Pope Francis right now, still won't go as far as to say that abortion is okay. So we're not, all we're trying to say is, you don't get that option when you're voting for a political candidate because you're voting for an entire smorgasbord of policies. You might love every single thing about Joe Biden's platform, but being a Catholic and voting for Joe Biden, there's the support for abortion. Now, you have to come to your own decision when you go to sleep at night if that's okay. You might tell yourself, well, at least he's going to let the kids out of cages and he's not going to stop immigrants from coming here and all the things that you don't like about Trump. But the point is, when you vote for a candidate, you're voting for literally hundreds and hundreds of policies that are very nuanced. You know, there's a concept of like people that, you know, are in DC for a long time. They're called policy wonks, right? They really get into the nitty gritty. So like there's an education, like a wonk would be somebody who's like, okay, so in this state, we had this many dollars go towards this policy, and we had students' education score or reading scores go up by this. Like people that really get into the weeds, right? Those people that are that informed on that one singular policy, whether it be education, foreign policy, you know, economics, whatever the case may be, they can't, no human being can possibly be informed, let alone the average American voter, because we all go to work, we have more things to do. We can't be educated on every single policy to know that candidate X is the uniquely ultimate good guy and candidate Y.
You know what we call him in
one.
Manchester United's camp?
What?
A wank. Not a wonk, a wank.
A wank.
They're a fucking wanker.
So, I saw the daggers you were shooting. I was getting kind of long-winded there. I only put a bow on that point to say that
fucking bow it up, buddy.
That they're saying, okay, voting for my guy is what makes you good, but you can't possibly, because there's always going to be things that your guy supports that are morally objectionable, right? I mean, I would venture to say that most Republicans and Democrats would agree that firebombing innocents in the middle of the Middle East, you know, killing innocent women and children is not necessarily a morally justified outcome, even if you think fighting ISIS or whatever the case may be is a good thing to do. But again, whether you support Republican or Democrat, the bombs keep falling. That's not changing anytime soon. So for somebody to be like, I voted and the guy I voted for won and the bombs kept dropping and that makes me better than you because you didn't vote.
Or option B,
doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
I voted to save lives that are still in wombs, but my vote also counted for 54th trimester abortions under the hands of a bomb. So, what would that be? 18? Did I do the math wrong on that? I feel
yes, a child.
Fair enough. A 54th trimester would probably be like an adult. Is my point. Like, it's not cool to kill them when they're a zygote, but it's totally cool to kill them when they're 18 plus.
Right.
It's my point. It's like death is still death, no matter where you believe that life starts.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah, but whatever you have to do individually as a voter to wrestle with those moral questions and to go to sleep at night saying the candidate I voted for won and the bombs kept dropping or whatever policy happened that in your heart of hearts you know you would not support. If you were the one that had to look that kid in the eyes before you push the button to bomb them, would you be able to push that button? I would hope to say that the vast majority of people, Republican, Democrat, or in between, would not make the decision to push that button. Yet they're fully willing to outsource that to their political candidate, and worse, bringing us back to the meme of the day to tie this one off. So I see my co-host looking at the time here. And worse is to see and understand that is the way the world is. It's not black and white. There's a lot of gray, and in that gray, a lot of innocence and a lot of innocence is destroyed, and a lot of bad things happen. And to stand on some sort of imaginary moral high ground and say, I'm the good one because I voted and it was for the lesser of two evils or whatever, however you want to rationalize it, and you're the bad one because you didn't, seems to be a pail of water with holes in the bottom.
Sleep tight.
Not a whole lot to it.
Sleep tight. I feel good. I voted for the right person. Said everybody that I hang out with.
Yeah. So I think that's all we wanted to say on that one. You got anything else there, David?
And that's all I got to say about that.
Well, that's very good.
Well, make sure you tell us how wrong we are and how stupid we look. And, well, I guess we don't really look stupid yet because we're not recording video to put with us. Yeah. But I'm sure when we do.
Give it time. Wait for the people to demand it.
Yes.
You want to see our faces?
You want to see what we recording? You want to see what?
You know what you need to do? You need to go to wmdpodcast.com and you need to sign up for our email list because we will be sharing nice little rants and things to you all the time because we love
with more
you.
shit, so your phone goes off more, so you feel that like that release.
Somebody cares about you.
Somebody.
You always want to know somebody cares about you.
Somebody wants my attention. Oh yeah.
And in there, I think we want to ask the question: do you want to see our faces?
No. No mistake.
I mean, they can see our faces in the bio on the website, but that's different than like seeing us in action.
Depends on which picture we decide to go with. So,
yeah, maybe we go with COVID pictures of masks up.
Yeah,
bank robbers.
Maybe I put my cowl on, don my cape, so on and so forth.
Well, thanks for hanging out with
utility
us again.
Belts.
WMB Podcast.
It's important to have utility belts
/8
because where am I supposed to hide my batarangs?
And we will talk to you next week.
For God's sake, don't you cut me.